What's up, guys? It's Primetime Poulton, main event McNulty. We're the LaPod gods, and we're here live. Phil, what's going on, man?
Before we got on there, I was telling Mark what a shitty week I've had so far, and the thing that lifted me up, unlike last week's episode, was professional wrestling. It made me remember why I was a fan of professional wrestling this week.
Phil, pro wrestling will always be there for us.
I know, right? When the chips are down, there's always a suplex ready to lift us up.
So we had a big weekend last week for Impact Wrestling. We had Talking Shop Mania 2. Plus we had Impact's Impact Plus special, and it was really good for me because I am loaded with Impact wrestlers for our fantasy league. So I ended up gaining like 11 points last weekend. So I was very happy.
I think we may be tied. I haven't updated my roster. I haven't checked. I haven't normally, as I watch the shows live, I update them. But since
Yeah.
I didn't see any shows live this week, I haven't updated a thing. But I think we're pretty much tied. The time I start Moose, he wins on a pay-per-view but gets disqualified, so I lose a point. And then so I bench him, and then he wins it, so he would have got my point back. So it was an awkward week.
The big thing coming out of the Impact pay-per-view, we have new tag team champions, the Good Brothers. I was surprised they pulled the trigger this early. I thought it was going to go to their January, where it's an official pay-per-view and not an Impact Plus special.
I think I called it. Don't want to toot my own horn here, but I called. I believe I said if Impact wants us to buy their bi-weekly pay-per-views, you got to make things happen. And I said I think the Good Brothers will win, and I think Deonna Purrazzo will win to show that title changes can happen. So
Yeah.
I'm going to give myself a pat on the back for that one.
So Impact started off this week a match right out of the gate with Moose versus Willie Mack. The presentation of Moose is amazing. The new ring entrance music is phenomenal. The guy seems like a star is an understatement. He seems like a mega star.
Mm-hmm. All he has to do is show anybody his work since Slammiversary and be like, no, move me to your main roster. If he decides to leave Impact, that's if he did. We always speculate as the Impact's going to lose talent, right? Because it seems like that's always the case. Impact, for some reason, seems like a farm system for all, even for AEW now, it seems like, because of their rise in popularity. But Moose is a megastar, and I am so ready to have him win the title from Rich Swann. It's not even it's a moot point. You got to put the championship on Moose because he is on megastar track, and all props to him. His in-ring work has gotten so good. He just knows this character, and it's one of those timeless characters. It's almost Ric Flairish in a way that he does not have to change who he is at all. Being a delusional heel that makes all the money is timeless.
So this was a no disqualification match, and it was almost like a squash match. This was just highlighting Moose and how dominant he is. He took care of Willie Mack easily to the point where the referee had to stop the match because the beating was so bad.
We've gone this route in professional wrestling where UFC fighters have joined pro wrestling, and it just feels awkward and clumsy. But when professional wrestlers perform MMA and UFC moves, they look deadly because that's what they're trained to do. They're trained to make strikes look like they hurt but not hurt their opponent. And Moose's constant elbows and beatdowns are just, they're uncomfortable to watch, but that's because he's executing them so perfectly.
Yeah, I once went to GCW. They do Josh Barnett's Bloodsport live events and pay-per-views, and it's basically pro wrestlers doing MMA. They take the ropes off the ring, and they do wrestling matches, but MMA style. And I would never watch MMA or UFC or any of that. But man, I was captivated by pro wrestlers fake MMA fighting. It was amazing. It adds more drama to it, and yeah, the moves did look deadly. So yeah, to your point, yeah, it really does play well on TV.
Yeah, I just think Moose is so good, and I feel like every week I say the same thing. If you're not watching Impact Wrestling, you're doing yourself such a disservice as a wrestling fan because from start to finish, this was a complete episode of Impact Wrestling. Backstage segments, in-ring segments, people we didn't care about are you kind of care about. They make you feel like they make their wrestlers feel like stars. It's such a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, so Moose gets the victory. It looks like they're strapping the rocket to him. The same can't be said for Willie Mack. We keep speculating that his contract must be over the way he's being used, but someone has to lose if you're building up guys like Moose, and you know we'll get to the other guys that they're building, but yeah, someone has to take the L, and it's unfortunately been Willie Mack.
And I think Willie Mack is probably NXT bound. I feel like he's on a Cassius Ono to bring that name out of the
Oh,
grave.
that's a good call.
I think he's like a Cassius Ono. I think he's gonna go over, come in, beat some NXT star down, make him look like a monster, and then lose again. So unfortunately, I feel like this is Willie Mack's trajectory.
Yeah, so the next match was a bit of a head scratcher. It was Suicide versus Geo, just one name Geo. And it got me thinking, oh, is TJP donning the mask and becoming Suicide? Is this the way he gets around the loophole of that he can't compete for the X Division title? And then it got me thinking, well, maybe this Geo guy is someone that they're going to start building. But no, it was just two guys they needed to put in the ring because EY came out with his new muscle, Joe Doring, from Japan. This guy is huge. I love the cowboy gimmick. It reminds me. He looks like a 6'9" Stan Hansen.
He looks like senior citizen Lance Archer.
There you go. But yeah, they decimated. It's funny. The official record shows that Geo gets the win by DQ because he hit Geo first. So he forearmed Geo. The match got DQ'd, and Suicide got the disqualification. So poor Suicide.
Is the Suicide gimmick dead? It's got to be dead.
It's been dead.
Yeah, I mean, this is just beating a dead horse at this point because you see the presentation and everything. You're like, man,
Yeah.
I remember Suicide back in the day. I wanted that action figure so badly, like in high school. And
Oh
now,
yeah, it was a great action figure. The character was really cool. I think when Hogan came in and they unmasked him to be TJP, that's when it was over. To be honest, it was actually over before that. I think once they switched it from Kazarian to Chris Daniels, the gimmick was over.
yeah, and I think this may be the last we see of it for a while.
Yeah, I mean, they had the costume, so I guess when they just need someone, they need a body to throw in there. They just take someone and say, hey, don this mask. Next up, we get a Deonna Purrazzo backstage interview, just basically saying, she's the champion and she's going to remain the champion. It's been the same old with for such a strong women's division. It's kind of just been the same old, same old.
This with Kylie Ray gone, it feels like they don't know how to recover. And I don't blame Impact. I blame, it's hard to say I blame Kylie Ray. I'm not victim shaming Kylie Ray. Kylie Ray's going through some personal things. She's done with wrestling completely, probably for her mental health. But man, the Impact doesn't know what to do. And they're just trying to tread water right now. And I feel like, unfortunately, she quit during this women's tag tournament, so all their best women are tied up right now. Like, so you just got to keep beating this feud to death with Su Yung and Deonna Purrazzo.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. So next match we get another guy that I feel like they're building perfectly. Brian Myers versus Crazy Steve. Myers in his new gear, his Abyss homage gear, looks like a complete badass.
when they say, here's the thing, when you say, all right, especially when you're outside the WWE, where you basically got to manufacture your own gimmicks now. Like when the Attitude Era ended, manufacturing your own gimmicks died in WWE. But when you do it outside there, when you do it in professional wrestling, you got to look the part. Like you got to say, this is my moniker and this is what I'm being. And I think we make fun of everyone's got a nickname in the WWE. They don't play that character. It's just a money market. When Brian Myers says he's the most professional wrestler and he comes out like that, I honestly believe he's the most professional wrestler. He just looks so good and he does it so well in the ring. This is him finally breaking out, and I think his star has risen above Matt Cardona's at this point.
Yeah, I agree with you. I love the clothesline he's using as a finisher now. It looks brutal. I'm predicting he's a future world champion at Impact.
I agree, and they like I said before, and like you said before, the X Division title has to go on him. Has to go on him.
Yeah. If I could do a little fantasy booking with him, Heath's injured right now. They should have him go up to Rhino and say, "You're a good friend, but what has it gotten you? You need to start thinking about yourself," and have Rhino join him and be like Brian Myers' muscle. Everyone seems like they're getting backup in Impact right now. You got Sammy Callahan with Ken Shamrock. You got EY now with Joe Doring. Brian Myers, he needs a heavy. So I think that's what they should do.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, Brian Myers is a huge ECW fan, especially the Triple Threat. So when Heath comes back, you slide Heath in as the third member of their group. Give Brian Myers a stable.
I'd be down for it. Bringing back professional wrestling would be cool.
Yeah. So we talked about the women's tag team tournament. We get a first round match. Tennille Dashwood and Alicia Edwards going up against Jessica Havoc and Nevaeh. Havoc and Nevaeh get the win. It's so weird that so much time was spent on Tennille and Jordan Grace finding partners that Tennille's out in the first round.
She's popping up because Jordan Grace has her partner's 3 question marks. It's Tennille.
I actually think it's like Gail Kim or someone. It's someone who said they're coming out of retirement.
Oh, you know what? And Gail Kim was just recently featured as they said goodbye to the Rascals. And
Yeah.
so, she probably did come in.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. I know some other rumors out there are like it's Victoria, because I think she recently announced that she had retired. Maybe even ODB, who has strong connection to Impact. ODB Jordan Grace tag team makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. It does.
So basically the match just was a showcase for Havoc and Nevaeh, and just to show what a terrible partner Tennille is. They kept stressing that her catchphrase is "It's all about me," and that doesn't cut it when you're trying to be a team.
Caleb with the K's got to go. I'm done with the Tennille Dashwood gimmick. It's stale. It doesn't fit. Talk about how we complimented Brian Myers. This is what we're talking about. She's from the WWE mold where you say something. You can say it's all about me, but if you don't show it, doesn't really matter.
I will say this. I thought Caleb with a K's outfit was awesome.
Something found in the Primetime Poulton closet.
Absolutely. And Alicia Edwards, I thought looked great in the opening of the match.
I agree.
Yeah. So once that match is over, we get another match. It was pretty heavy with matches for Impact, but they always give us a lot of in-ring wrestling. This is another head scratcher. We get Falaba versus Hernandez. The wrong person won here. Why are you giving Hernandez a victory over like a young guy like Falaba?
I don't get it. What has Falaba done? Like what did this Impact have against him? Because he's entertaining, he's funny, he's way more valuable than Hernandez.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. when Follow was teaming up with KM and they had the sumo gimmicks going on where KM was like the sumo in training, they were money. The fans loved them. They should have put the titles on them. They never did. And then when KM left Impact, I thought, oh, well, it's time to build Fala up. He could be one of your future building blocks. And they just put him in another tag team with TJP, who, TJ's not cutting it in Impact either. And now, he's in singles matches, but he's losing to a guy who was like a building block of Impact 10 years ago.
Speaking of TJP, I know we may be jumping ahead here, but
yeah,
I do think this is the best it's the time we've ever had with Scott D'Amore. I mean, he actually looked like a competent being again, telling TJP all the things that no one named TJP can. Is he coming back as whatever his real name is, or do you think this is a whole gimmick change for him?
Yeah, no, this is. I think he's coming back as Manic, which was his character, or maybe it will be a name change and a whole new gimmick. Actually, I'd rather prefer a whole new gimmick over Manic.
Mm-hmm.
Much like Suicide, it's keep it dead and buried. Let's start coming up with new things. I know Impact has been giving us a lot of nostalgia with the TNA title, and they always give us like the flashback match of the week. And a nice surprise was the Machine Guns, but the Machine Guns are like they're the exception to the rule because they can still go in the ring. Same with if they brought if for some reason Bobby Roode got released and they could bring back Beer Money. Those are like things from the past that we would want.
Because they're main event
really
guys.
Want Suicide. What's that?
They're main event guys. That's why Manic was never no disrespect. He wasn't anything really. He looked like the sidekick to Suicide, and Suicide was already past his prime during then. So there's no fond memory. He's not a cornerstone like an Eric Young or a Bobby Roode or a James Storm, or the Machine Guns. Those were building blocks that during TNA, fans were saying that would be amazing if they jumped ship, right? But they were loyal. That's why we like them. It's like Manic was just in that weird 2000 in-between phase.
Yeah, so that segment was one of two back-to-back Scott D'Amore segments, and both were pretty good. The other one was he was backstage with the Good Brothers, and Ethan Page, who is always money, shows up, and he wants a match. He wants a rematch with the Good Brothers. He wants his tag titles back, and the Good Brothers basically say, you can earn it. You have to defeat their phenomenal friend, their uncle Alan, and I have a feeling this is 100% going to be Swoggle dressed up as AJ Styles. It's going to be Swoggle style. They have the same hair.
I don't know where they're going with it. I'm interested. I'd rather see AJ Styles off of WWE. It feels like they don't want anything to do with him, and quite frankly, he seems like he doesn't want. He's just resting on his laurels now. Even though they signed him to that big money deal when AEW was trying to get him. I don't know. I think he stayed for the wrong reasons. I understand he's got a family and stuff. So maybe those are the right reasons to stay. But for career-wise, going back to Impact would not have been a bad thing. Going to AEW would not be a bad thing. And I think this segment also. Did you see the latest vlog from our boy Ethan Page addressing his contract status?
When he was talking about his contract status?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what? I would not be surprised if he loses and then he says, I have my own opponent he needs to beat, and then the Karate Man comes out. But I think it's all but certain that Ethan Page is gone from Impact Wrestling. I think they're gonna do the same thing for him like they did with the Rascals. I think he is going to go to that next level because his backstage segments and online videos just reaffirm he's on that megastar territory. And I think they have so much talent that they would put above him right now that I think a good career move would be to go to maybe an NXT or an AEW.
Yeah, I would say it. It's kind of I wouldn't know which way to go for him,
Mhm.
NXT or AEW, because AEW has so much talent
Mhm.
that you can get lost in the shuffle. I mean, I think we've seen some stars get lost.
Brian Cage, I think they're doing a nice job of building up Brian Cage, and we'll get to that to a bit. But he was lost in the shuffle for a while. Even Kenny Omega was lost in the shuffle. I think this, we'll save that for it. But I think
Yeah.
Moxley at the top really undercuts a lot of talent that could be in that position. But again,
Yeah, so it's main event time. We have the Rascals against Rich Swann and Trey Miguel. We've made it clear we don't really care for the Rascals, but I really like the send off that Impact gave them. Uh, the entrances with the three of them was really great. I thought the match was really good, and then the conclusion where Rich Swann and Trey get the win. They're all hugging at the end. The Rascals hang their jackets up on the ropes, and I was like, "Wow, this isn't like WWE at all." They gave them a nice send off. They really showed how much they appreciated them, and then it followed them backstage, and more hugging and stuff. And I was like, "Wow, this is really nice." But then Sammy Callahan showed up and beat them all with a baseball bat.
it's so funny because I almost turned it off after they went to after they hung up their jackets and were crying, and I almost turned it off. But I said, you know what? For some reason, my DVR still says there's like 4 minutes left. Let me go see what the hell these final 4 minutes are. They did not disappoint. I was so excited to see. I mean, I don't know. I to me, I like the beatdown. I love a good beatdown after a send off. I I don't. I'm not emotionally invested in Rich Swann. I'd be more invested if it was Eddie Edwards after he had such an awesome showing at their pay per view they had. Just him coming out and beating the shit out of Shamrock was an awesome thing to see.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is what it is. This is a nice ending to the show.
Yeah, another good episode of Impact, man. They
We're,
they don't disappoint.
and we're missing the one thing that I cannot wait for next week. Wrestler's Court as Johnny Swinger pulls out a Glock from his
Yeah,
fanny.
I can't believe I missed that. So, Dreamer is interrogating Swinger, and he has his fanny pack, and Dreamer mentions the Magnum, so he pulls out a condom first, and then Dreamer was like, "No, the gun," and Swinger just takes it out and waves it around, and he's like, "Yeah, Daddy, this is my piece."
And he referenced an old wrestling murder too, which was hysterical. He's like, you never know when you gotta get thrown in the back of a limo, daddy, and you're just like, fucking A, Swinger.
Yeah, he is amazing. We say it every week. Ethan Page, Johnny Swinger, those are our guys in Impact. They never disappoint.
It's every week they say 2 or 3 things, and you're just sold for the next week because they're so good at selling you a ticket for the next episode.
Yeah. So let's move over to AEW. I'm going to switch the ticker for us. There we
Whoa!
go.
All right, so let's get right to it. So match the show opens up with a video package for Top Flight, two real life brothers who watched the Young Bucks growing up and sent them a videotape, DM'd them over Twitter, send them a video, and they were able to come in. um I I did not knowing who Top Flight was. They appeared on Dark a few times, but this is really like a nice introduction to them, and I was thoroughly impressed. First with the video package, those two brothers know how to cut promos, like good babyface promos, and just it felt real because it was real, and it made you remember why like you like AEW because their characters are reality based and they are so real. And the match did not disappoint. For 19 and 21 years old, those boys can go.
Yeah, I really like this match. I like the whole like feel good story of Top Flight. Them reaching out to Matt Jackson, saying like the older one was thinking that he needed a change in life, and this was like almost like a plea for help, like help us get to the next level. And I think the Young Bucks saw a lot of themselves in Top Flight, gave them a chance. They were fantastic in the match. Story wise, the Young Bucks were kind of taking them for granted, not taking them as a serious threat, and they were getting a lot of moves in. But then the Bucks sort of just like hit the switch and got a little nasty with them, and I love that because the whole heel thing has been dropped. But if they're going to show some like a harder edge, I think that whole heel turn storyline at least has a little bit of a payoff.
You know what? Tony Schiavone brought up a good thing. He said, that he goes, we've seen a different Young Bucks in it. Maybe it did get to their heads a little bit, but I still like the Young Bucks. And, he played it off and said, I like this aggression because it stayed with him. It was a nice, I mean, the storyline was shit, but Matt, if it resulted in Matt Jackson wearing that cross earring, like that makes him look like a badass, I'm all for it. And I love this aggressive side where they don't have to be anyone but the Bucks. And I think they realized that a little bit too late into that program with FTR. But I also think on commentary, JR, I mean, we hose JR every week on here, but him bringing up the first month of AEW when they lost to Private Party because they took them, for granted, was a nice little added like salt and pepper to the storyline to season it.
Yeah. And I gotta say, I like the earring on Matt Jackson. It makes me think about digging out my old earrings and wearing them. But it looks like Top. Go ahead.
Bring him.
Yeah. It looks like Top Flight might stick around because Jack Evans and Angelico jumped them after the match.
Their tag division is so loaded, and in such a good way that they are loaded, and it doesn't feel like any team is left behind. It feels like they may not be on that week, but the next week they're on, and they may not be week on the other week, but every other week works so well for their tag team division that like they do such a good job. The only team that I feel that I'm not connected is Miro and Kip.
Yeah, no, I agree. Miro should just be a solo act.
So the next matchup was Kip Sabian versus Orange Cassidy with Miro on commentary. Miro is so good promo wise because he's so genuine, and I do not like this pairing with Kip Sabian. I don't think and I think it just shows you maybe Kip Sabian. I think he's getting outclassed right now, and I don't feel any connection towards Kip Sabian. And I really think it's Penelope Ford that actually made Kip and not the other way around. So so this match was okay. Orange gets the win after his mousetrap pinning finisher, but Miro jumping over that top rope and just laying him out was epic.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the whole storyline with Miro and Kip goes with Miro just is frustrated with Kip. Because even on commentary, he was like, keep telling him, like, you need to do this and do that. And he seemed like he was getting pissed off that Kip wasn't taking advantage of someone like Orange Cassidy when he does his, like, hands in the pocket stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if Miro just has enough of this and say, like, you're holding me back, and takes out his frustrations on Kip.
I would love it because Miro is so good. And I think he's grown into his character. I think he's ditching the best. They still call him the best man, but him actually going more to his genuine gamer self and him using that terminology doesn't seem forced. Him saying game over and said, he needs to level up. Like he's using these terms very smartly, and they just gotta break these two up because the sky's the limit for Miro. In all honesty.
Do you remember Alex Wright from WCW?
I do.
Kip Sabian is Alex Wright 2020, who was perfectly fine when he was just part of the cruiserweight division. But when you're trying to make him a big star, it's not going to work.
I mean, I like him. He seems like a good dude, but
Yeah.
I just think his in-ring work and his promo skills and his, he may be on Twitch, but it seems forced. It doesn't seem very, genuine. So I just think it is what it is at this point. And if it means Miro beats the shit out of him, I'm all for it. Let's just get there sooner rather than later.
AEW has a lot of guys who are, I mean, they have a lot of guys who are small, but they have a lot of guys that are really small. Do you think they should like incorporate a cruiserweight or an X division type?
I think they do, and I hate to sound like a Vince McMahon here, like I really do, but in that main event, Darby Allin being the face of TNT, and I understand Cody loves him and all that, but he is just towered over by three other guys in that match, and you're just seeing Brian Cage beat the shit out of him, and Ricky Starks beat the shit out of him, and Cody lost the title on a fluke roll up that it just doesn't. To me, Darby Allin would be perfect for that. I think Orange Cassidy would be perfect for that. I think Kip Sabian would be perfect for that. Kind of WCW cruiserweighted. You got nothing really for these guys. Move the TNT belt to make it your Intercontinental Championship, and get a cruiserweight belt in.
Yeah. Speaking of towering over people, did you see that new AEW figure 2 pack, the Blood Brothers, Cody and Dustin, highlighting their pay-per-view match?
I did not.
Oh, you have to take a look at it. The figures look awesome, but Dustin is like a head taller than Cody. Like the proportions are way off. Honestly, Dustin looks like, I mean, Dustin's a tall guy,
Yeah.
but they make Dustin look like he's 7'2" next to the Cody Rhodes figure.
Talk about a guy who looks 7'2" in presentation. We got to the contract signing between Omega and Moxley. Did Kenny Omega not look like a superstar with those shades and that business like suit getup he had?
Yeah, no, the guy looks great. Looks like a superstar. His whole not giving, not a care in the world that someone laid out Moxley was great. And Shivani's like total, like he can't believe that Omega doesn't care was just perfect.
When it was like just like John Moxley, Kenny Omega too was just like John Moxley, and then it's like unlike John Moxley, Kenny Omega is a Wrestling Observer Hall of Famer. Like this is the Omega we wanted, and this is the Omega we're getting. And I love the. I don't care. I love the fact that he knows, and I think he's gonna win. For Winter is Coming is what they're dubbing it, because Moxley announced, during his promo, which was a good Moxley promo, talking about how he basically got hit by his dad, and that
Yeah.
like wasn't like hitting him to like abuse him, was hitting him to harden him up for like life, and something that he now knows that his dad was just trying to protect him, and he's going to protect his son. So announcing that him and Renee Paquette are expecting. I think this is Moxley taking time off as his wife is pregnant, so they don't get any COVID scare. And I think Kenny Omega, and I don't think Kenny Omega is responsible for the beatdown. I think it's like Lance Archer. So you'll get like a warm-up match, unfortunately, where Archer will do the job to Moxley. But I just love how Kenny Omega's like, I know I'm going to win. And I hope he wins like this, because where you don't have a crowd to give you a standing ovation and see that this guy is finally like crowned your top champion in a match where the outcome looks already settled, I do not mind having Omega being this character where you don't need the big fanfare, because he's like, this has been mine all along.
Yeah, and it would make a lot of sense if it's Lance Archer who beat him down. They feuded in Japan for that U.S. title that Moxley still holds. So yeah, it would make all the sense in the world.
So next up, we have the Blade versus Pac. In a really good match. I think Blade with long pants looks better than Blade with short pants.
Yeah, no, Blade looked awesome in this match, and I think commentary helped it a lot. You know, talking about the beatdown that he took last week, where he lost a lot of blood in that match. But still, he gave Pac a hell of a match. The big thing is the ending of it, where they're giving the beatdown to Pac. who got the win, obviously. But then Ray Phoenix comes out for the save, and then they start beating Ray down.
Can we talk about how the Butcher looks great presentation wise, but then the bell rings? Did you see how he totally moved out of the way when Ray was supposed to come in and land on him? And he
Yeah.
just was kind of like trying to follow Ray, like not touch him because he understand like he fucked up in that moment. Like, I just gotta like a computer like trying to get to him. And it was, I mean, what can we say about Eddie Kingston? He sold the match. He sells Pac as a bastard. He sells himself saying, during that match, and like I love that it built up to that match where built up to that point where Penta comes out with the chair, and you don't know whose side he's on, and obviously it means Death Triangle reigns supreme, and that hand gimmick, like even the triangle, is just I can see it getting over.
I can see DDP suing him too. um, but this needed to happen. Kingston's squad was a little weird, and either Butcher and Blade had to go, or the Lucha Brothers had to go. So I think it makes perfect sense putting them back in the Death Triangle and just keeping Kingston with Butcher and Blade. But he's like a manager who outshines his wrestlers.
Where Pac is different, where Pac actually is the star. And I love angry bastard good guy. I think that's going to be a nice little gimmick change for him because he plays that snarling guy so well, but him being a good guy with it is going to be entertaining, I think. So next up, we had NWA Women's Championship, Serena Deeb versus Thunder Rosa, and an awesome match. Awesome, so good.
This match was great, but it leaves me wondering, why is the NWA Women's title more important than the AEW Women's title?
Let me tell you this. I think this all but confirms. I think this was an official basically saying NWA saying here's Thunder Rosa, because the mid-match where she gets in an altercation with Britt Baker and Serena Deeb just leaves with the title and Thunder Rosa goes in and Britt Baker and her start beating the crap out of each other, I think this is an official sign that Thunder Rosa is signing with AEW, and I think she's going to be I think the winner of this match is going to win the belt from Shida, and then I think this will be whoever wins the belt from Shida is going to pick this feud back up. So I think Britt Baker is going to win. I think she'll beat Shida, and I think it'll be Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker for the championship, and a feud that actually makes me excited for the AEW women's division.
Yeah, no, I really like the altercation at the end. I love Britt Baker getting involved in what otherwise was a great match. But Serena Deeb, she's also signed to AEW, so I don't know if they're going to keep pushing NWA or if she's going to drop it on one of their weekly pay-per-view shows at some point down the line.
It's interesting, but I like Serena Deeb. I don't know her person. I mean, she's a really good worker. She looks like a star. She has no personality, in my opinion. But I mean, you can when Thunder Rosa is like one of the best in the world right now.
Yeah. No, I would say top two women in AEW right now are Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa.
So next up, we had its main event time, in which the show felt like it just sped by. It was Team FTW.
Shout out to Darren. Thanks for watching, man.
Look at this, is awesome. Hey, Darren. So we have Brian Cage and Ricky Starks, Team FTW, defeating Cody Rhodes and Darby Allin.
I love it. I was so worried they were going to go the other way, but we talk every week how great Team Taz is. I'm jealous that you have them on your fantasy team. The whole presentation, Taz talking for him. Ricky Starks is a megastar in my eyes. It just works. And then here's the thing, though. I love them as the three of them together. When we get to the ending, Will Hobbs comes out for the save. At least you think he's making the save. And then he turns and he knocks out Cody with that that FTW belt. He's part of Team Taz now.
I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it because Will Hobbs. It's Will. All I can think about is Tony Schiavone. Will Hobbs. Will Hobbs. Right. And like he looks like he could be a good face. Right. He lifts up the FCW belt and holds it and looks at it, and Cody's stammering. And when he nails him, he hits that face. I'm like, Will Hobbs is going to be an awesome heel. This is going to be great. He fits so well. I mean, first of all, Brian Cage is a machine. They call him the machine. He's a machine in the ring. That drill call from that Avalanche drill call was spectacular.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting now that Will Hobbs is part of the group. Team Taz has been nothing but great for both of those guys, making them into top guys in AEW. They're both in the top 5 ranked wise. He's done he's done the world for Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks was a guy who came in as the part of the open challenge with Cody, and we were both like, this is like the surprise. It's Ricky Starks. Then Ricky Starks joined Team Taz, and the switch was flipped. This guy is like amazing.
The whole they really do seem like badasses. I love they've taken on Taz's persona of we're great, but the business holds us down, and no matter what, even if we have to hold a belt. I love Brian Cage taking offense to Cody Rhodes saying it's not a belt. Like that, just the whole storyline has been so good, and I think this may be a transitional championship for Darby Allin. I think 2 members from Team Taz go for the tag titles. I think 1 member of Team Taz gets the TNT championship. I don't know where it's going to end, but that excites me as a wrestling fan. I just can fantasy book Team Taz because they're so good.
Oh, you got to go Ricky Starks with the TNT title. Yep. Imagine the Cage and Will Hobbs together.
That's a sirloin. The quote Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful.com. That's sirloin beef sons of bitches.
Yeah.
Like
just imagine them beating down on the Bucks. Like the baby face Ricky Morton-esque, pleading to the crowd to help them as Will Hobbs and Brian Cage beat them down.
And then it was just what a great turn for that. I was not expecting that. I was not, wrestling's good when they swerve us, and what an excellent swerve. Some guy who's been just sort of, he never said no to Team Taz, which was cool. Like you can just tell they built it up for so long and so good. And then let's talk about some backstage segments. We're going to start with the bad first so we can end this show on another high note. The bad. Brandy Rhodes and Jay Hurdle. Like, why?
Yeah, no. I've had enough of both of them already. I mean, we were already over Brandy, and this is like the latest reinvention for Brandy. She's I don't know.
Does this mean Shaq isn't going to wrestle Cody one-on-one? It's going to be a tag, a mixed tag.
Oh, probably. There you go.
Because once again, Brandy Rhodes ruins everything. You can hashtag that, Darren. Brandy Rhodes ruins everything.
Yeah, man. Thanks for hitting the notifications. I'm glad the videos are popping up in your feed. Make sure to watch me and Phil every week.
And so now the good, which is the inner circle. The Hangover spoof by the new Inner Circle was amazing television to watch.
Yeah, no, it was funny. It's the first segment. They're all like standing out on the balcony. But meanwhile, in the background, you have Hager and Wardlow just staring like bullets through each other.
They did that the entire time, and when they just got fed up and they started punching randos in the bar wherever they were, that was just so good.
I think they're going to end up in a bromance. The two of them, they're going to be a tag team.
You know what? I would not be. I don't know where this. I love Sammy Guevara is hysterical. Drunk Sammy, he's like, "I hate you, I hate you," and he's like, "No, you love me." And Sammy Guevara goes, "No, I hate you." It's just so, and I mean Jericho picking up Elvis along the way, and then Hornswoggle pulling double duty,
Yeah, he's the modern day Rick Rude.
showing up as a baby in the hotel room, and it was just fun. And I like Jericho's back on commentary when the segments ended to announce that him and Hager are going back in the tag division.
Yeah, no, this was really well done. It was a lot of fun. Um, uh, are you going to bring up the backstage segment with Johnny Silver and the Queen
Oh,
Slayer?
yes, another high. This Dynamite's episode was so good this week that even Johnny Silver, who we won on our television, I totally forgot. But it announces the Queen Slayer number 99 against Sheeta for the AEW Women's Championship.
I would love for him to put the belt on
Mhm.
Anna Jay. Silver, him on the mic is so good. I almost hope that Brody doesn't come back for a while, just because I'm enjoying him so much. But at the same time, I can't wait to see what Brody thinks of like the rise of Johnny Silver while he's been gone.
You know what they need to do? Remember being the Elite when he was on Alex Reynolds' shoulders and they put on Brody's
Yeah.
jacket? They need to have like play his Brody Lee's theme music and put a wig on John Silver and have him come out on his shoulders like that, just because it would be so funny if they're like, if he doesn't wrestle next week, you know, he can't, he doesn't, his contract's null and void. So the two of them had to pretend to be Brody Lee. Would be a funny story. That's just me and my fantasy booking, but
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
no. So overall, some damn good professional wrestling this week.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff, man. Impact hits it out of the park every week. I thought AEW was a great show as well.
Yeah, it's it's nice to not be upset at professional wrestling this week.
Yeah, and Impact's already announcing that they have another special in December. So it's great to see both companies firing on all cylinders, giving us winners coming with AEW. So lot of wrestling to look forward to for the Christmas season.
And Survivor Series. That McIntyre Reigns match is gonna be awesome. Like
Yeah,
I had a feeling like I started McIntyre because I'm like, you know what? That I think because I saw that segment got like 500,000 viewers. Like it really jumped up when as soon as McIntyre came out. Reigns came out, got 250,000 viewers. Then McIntyre doubled it, like matched it, like to make that segment. Fans wanted it. I'm glad for once the WWE's like, you know what? Maybe Randy doesn't need the title for Edge when they pick that up, and it's just gonna be a good match between the two. Oh, it's gonna be awesome.
what a difference a year makes. Well, because we've gotten Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre a lot, but
Mhm.
the roles were reversed, where Roman was the good guy and Drew was the bad guy, and people didn't care for it. But now this whole heel Roman makes everything better.
He's just, and I love what they're doing with Jey Uso. It's like whatever Jimmy does and comes back, you're actually building it. This is a nice build to possibly a main eventer. I would not be surprised if Jay ultimately takes the belt off Roman in about a year. Like if
Yeah,
it comes to, I think he'll hold the belt, and even if it's The Rock doesn't sign on and The Rock doesn't take it from him, because I honestly think if The Rock comes back, he'll put Reigns over. I think you bring this for a year, you make Roman have this long title reign, and it's Jay who finally gets his win. You'd be making a main event star like Kofi.
yeah. No, I could see it. The new Jey Uso has been fantastic. Now, don't forget, next month we also have our Christmas wrestling gift giving between the two of us. I already got your gift. I'm very proud of myself.
I'm excited because something that I was looking for came in, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, gotta get it because this wrestling exchange is gonna be Awesome. I'm so excited.
So, Phil, where can people find you at?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Animated Phil.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Coney Waves. Make sure you subscribe to Primetime Poulton like our man Darren did. Hit the notifications, and we will see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.